What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another exciting edition of the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, presented by Georgia Alabama Sports Live and Sports Visions 92.1 FM. Happy to be here on this Friday as we've got a jam-packed show for you. Later on in the show, I'm going to have a special guest. I am excited because I've had him on my show a couple of times. It is the Troup County baseball coach, Coach Tanner Glisson, as the Troup County Tigers are in the state championship. We are excited about that. We are pulling for them down in Columbus, and there's just something brewing in the water in the city of LaGrange with all the athletics that have had success over the last couple of years. I am excited to have Coach Glisson on. A lot to get into. We got Brookstone and Bullock Academy in the quarterfinals of the GIAA playoffs. Thrip Behringer will be on the call. I may drop by and help out on the broadcast as well. I'm actually headed to Dymel Field to call Pacelli girls and boys soccer. The Pacelli girls are going to be taking on Bullock Academy in the second round of the GIAA soccer playoffs, and then the Pacelli boys are taking on Cristo Rey. I'm going to talk to Columbus Cleanstones as they continue winning on the road. They get another victory over the Knoxville Smokies. And we also have NBA playoffs. Denver's not done yet. They force a Game 7. And I have my thoughts on teams with championship pedigree when they are in a Game 7. And then the Boston Celtics, they're trying to extend that series against the New York Knicks later tonight, but Jason Tatum's out. NFL schedule release came out. I am excited. My San Francisco 49ers, they say, have the easiest schedule, and I think that you could pencil them in for at least 10, 11 wins. Michael Williams from Hardaway, he gets the bag, signs a $24.5 million contract to play defensive end for the San Francisco 49ers, and I think he's going to have an impact in year one because of all the defensive pieces that the 49ers have lost to free agency. I will get into that. I will get into Glenwood, the Glenwood Gators. They are the champs. As I got to call game 1 on Tuesday, Thrip Behringer called game 2 on Wednesday. I was at Oxford and Thrip was at Jacksonville State. I didn't have a show on Monday, but I did have a show on Wednesday because I wanted to bring back the guest. I got Cam Lindsay on the podcast. This was the first guest I've had on since December. Last guest I had was Philip Jordan back in December. And I know that sports seems to slow down. Half my audience leaves when it's not football season. But I still want to get the guest back. And so I am so excited to get Coach Glisson here on the Sports Beat. Let's dive right into it. So I talked about Troup County in the state championship for the 3A classification, and just a big moment for the Troup County Tigers, able to defeat Pickens in the winner-take-all Game 3 on Tuesday, and they will be playing up in Rome at the Advent Health Stadium, home of the Rome Emperors. So here is the full schedule for the GHSA state baseball playoffs. Starting on Monday, May the 19th, we have got the 5A classification. House and County, remember, they won the championship 2 years ago in 6A. They are taking on Noonan. A big shout out to the Noonan Cougars. I know the home of Alan Jackson, and also the home of the former WQEE 99.1. I remember when I was doing the show in Noonan, I always gave a shout out to all the Noonan schools. And I got to look in the history books to see, is this the first time that a Noonan school has made it to a state championship? I think this is pretty cool. On Tuesday, we have Housing County or Noonan, a game 3 if necessary. That's going to be at Coolray Field for the 5A classification, 5 o'clock on Tuesday at Coolray Field. We've got the 6A championship. It's going to be a doubleheader. Walton is taking on the defending 7A champions, Lowndes, as Lowndes was able to get by Etowah, who was the defending 6A champions, and then Walton was able to get by North Gwinnett. So we got on Wednesday, Walton Lowndes, game 3 if necessary at 12. On Wednesday at Coolray Field, we have got the 4A classification. Cartersville is taking on Blessed Trinity. The defending champions were Stars Mill, and they ended up getting defeated. So we're going to have a new championship in the 4A classification. Excited about that. And then Thursday, a game 3 if necessary in the 4A classification. Let's move over to Rome on Monday. We've got the 1A Division I state championship. It is Pepperell taking on Gordon Lee in a doubleheader, 5 p.m. first pitch at Advent Health Stadium. And then on Tuesday, the game 3 if necessary at 12. And then at 5 o'clock, the 3A classification, Cherokee Bluff taking on Troup County. On Wednesday, game 3 if necessary at noon. And then it is the 2A classification. It is Franklin County taking on Rockmart at 5 p.m. up in Rome. Thursday, a game 3 if necessary. And then finally at Georgia Southern, we have the private bracket. Monday, doubleheader, Savannah Christian taking on Calvary Day. 12 p.m., the game 3 if necessary at Georgia Southern University. And then at 5 p.m., the 1A Division II state championship, Lanier County taking on Wilcox County. Doubleheader, and then Wednesday, a game 3 if necessary. All these games will be on the NFHS network. And I know the GHSA has a great partnership with the NFHS network, and I'm looking forward to watching the games as I still have my subscription to the NFHS network. I just appreciate the Alabama High School Athletic Association for allowing us to live stream on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, audio only. But that is the GHSA classification. The AHSAA classification is happening as we speak as well. And we've got some teams, as we've got Enterprise. They are taking on Bob Jones. Hartselle taking on Chelsea. We've got Deschler, Bibb County. Obviously, Glenwood ended up defeating Gordo. Vincent taking on Pike Liberal Arts. And then Hackleburg taking on Leroy. As I'll try to get those championships for you on Monday. The GIAA playoffs are happening. Quarterfinal action. Brookstone taking on Bullock Academy. Doubleheader. First pitch is going to be at 2 o'clock, and you can catch those games on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Remember, the GIAA state championships are going to be at Synovus Park May the 29th through the 31st. So soccer is happening on the 27th and 28th. That's going to be at Stratford Academy. So we're going to put a bow on spring sports, and then we come into the month of June, and yeah, it's a little relaxation time, a little downtime, but, we still have summer leagues and coaches shows, and, we just continue grinding here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring back the Sports Beat, to have an additional platform to get interviews that, we may not have time to get on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And because usually Georgia Alabama Sports Live, it's me and Thrift interviewing people. And, there are sometimes I would love to try to get the guests back here on the Sports Beat. All right, let's talk soccer championships. The Shaw Raiders are in the soccer championship for the very first time in school history, as this is the first time that a team from Shaw has reached the championship since 2006, when the Shaw football team lost to Peach County. So the job that Coach Curtis Moore has done has been fantastic. They have been flying under the radar. They are going to be challenged. Drew Charter is a very good soccer club that's only given up one goal this part of the playoff goes. But this is going to be at Mercer University, 5:30, and you can catch that game on the NFHS network. I mean, that's going to put a bow on the spring sports. All right, why don't we take a break, and when we come back, going to talk NBA playoffs. You don't want to go anywhere. It's the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, and we are presented by Georgia Alabama Sports Live and Sports Visions 92.1 FM.
When you really need something to get you through a long graduation ceremony, Trolley Sour Gummy Worms are there to give you a thrill. With varieties like Trolley Sour Bursting Crawlers, the worm's soft and chewy texture, surprising flavor combinations, and neon bright colors will give everyone a reason to celebrate. So when you want to notch the festivities up a couple degrees, Trolley Sour Gummy Worms are the perfect way for everyone to celebrate. Shop now for any trolley that crawls your way.
Welcome back here to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, presented by Georgia Alabama Sports Live. NBA playoffs, Denver forces a Game 7 as they take care of business against the Oklahoma City Thunder 119-107. At this point, you got to think that Denver is just completely worn out because they had a Game 7 against the Clippers, but that's not the case. Championship teams know how to win in closeout situations, and that's exactly what happened with the Denver Nuggets, and they didn't really get a good game from Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter Jr. It was Christian Braun that scored 23 points. That really was the X factor. We know about the accolades of Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, another double-double. I mean, this guy is just phenomenal. He is the best basketball player in the NBA, and I like Denver's chances in a Game 7. At OKC, it doesn't matter. They took Game 1 against OKC. They know how to win. They know what it takes to win in championship situations, and they have the best player in the NBA. I think the Denver Nuggets take care of business against the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 7. Meanwhile, there's a Game 6 at Madison Square Garden tonight. The Boston Celtics, who are shorthanded without Jason Tatum, are going to take on the New York Knicks. A lot of Knicks fans are excited because they have an opportunity to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2000. It's been a long time for Knicks fans, and they have an opportunity to not only close out their most feared and hated rival, but to do it on their home court. That's exactly what Knicks fans want to see. I still am a firm believer that the best NBA Finals is Knicks Timberwolves. But if it's Knicks Nuggets, I wouldn't be shocked either because the Nuggets know how to win. But don't sleep on the Indiana Pacers. This is a team that is flying under the radar, and I still think the Knicks are better and they should win, but the Pacers are just one of those sneaky teams that does everything right, and they beat the Knicks in the quarterfinals last year. So going back to the Eastern Conference Finals, the Pacers trying to make it back to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2000. All right, let's briefly talk about the WNBA. The season opener is this Saturday. Obviously, they're going to get a lot of views for Fever and Sky because of the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark factor. I agree. I'm going to watch a little bit of it. I think that the Indiana Fever has built a roster to try to win a championship. And I do want to give a shout out, a local product who's part of Girls Inc., Michaela Timpson, makes the 12-team roster. So congratulations. We had her watch party on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I'm so happy for her making it. The former Florida State Seminole, who is now on the Indiana Fever, who was drafted in the second round in the WNBA draft. All right. We also have the PGA Championship that's going on right now, and I'll try to give an update. I'll talk about the PGA Championship on the show on Monday. Also, the Preakness is this week. Can Sovereignty win the Preakness to get all the sports fans talking about a possible Triple Crown winner, first time since 2018? We would love to see that as casual sports fans. And we're probably going to get some breaking news that Sovereignty's not even going to race in the Preakness. But I love horse racing. I'll talk horse racing on this show. All right, let's switch gears. and let's talk about that NFL schedule release. I will talk about the Clean Stones and the Braves on Monday's show. Like I said, this is kind of a condensed show because I got to head up to Brookstone to call a baseball game with Thrip Barringer. I'm going to have Coach Tanner Glisson on the sports beat as he's coming on in just a bit. But the NFL schedule release, come on, they know what they're doing. They want to get the highlighted games. They are trying to do everything they can to get as many eyeballs glued to the TV. I actually think that the international games are starting to get watered down. In my opinion, we have too many international games. But you look at week 1, Cowboys and Eagles. I mean, come on. This is going to be a mismatch. They want to get America's team in prime time. They want to get as many views as possible. But the Eagles could possibly dominate. This could be a blowout because the Cowboys are not a very good team, and the Philadelphia Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champions, and they have dominated the Cowboys in the last couple of years. The Friday game in Brazil, we've got the Chiefs and the Chargers. I know that the Kansas City Chiefs went to the Super Bowl. They still have Patrick Mahomes, but that offensive line is shaky. The Chiefs have a very tough schedule. It would not shock me if the Chiefs took a step back this year, but you still have Patrick Mahomes. Falcons opened the season against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Remember, they swept the Buccaneers last year. So it was a layup for the Falcons to win the division. I don't understand why they didn't, but hey, the Falcons are going with Michael Penix Jr. I'm hoping to see some strides and some improvements. You got the 49ers taking on the Seahawks, the Packers taking on the Lions. That's going to be the CBS primetime game. The NBC Sunday night game is Baltimore and Buffalo. Week 1, it is going to be fantastic. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, that's going to be great. And then the Monday night game, the Vikings and the Bears, we're going to see that improved Bears team. And also, that's going to be the debut of Ben Johnson as a head coach. Oh, I am so excited about everything that's happening. That was just briefly week 1. Week 2, you got the Washington Commanders and the Green Bay Packers on that Thursday night game. You also have the Sunday night game is the Falcons and the Vikings. And then the Monday night game is the doubleheader, Buccaneers, Texans, Chargers, Raiders. It seems like the Chargers and Raiders are always playing on Monday Night Football, but it's always like that doubleheader, which they have a couple of them this year. The Thursday night game, Dolphins and Bills, week 3. You got the Sunday night game, Chiefs and Giants. I think that could be just a Russell Wilson factor. The Giants have a very good pass rush. I think that could be a game where, if the Chiefs are not too careful, they can end up losing that game. How about this fantastic Monday Night Football game? The Lions and Ravens. I cannot wait for that, even though that game is in Baltimore. All right, week 4, we got another doubleheader on Monday Night Football, Jets and Dolphins, Bengals and Broncos. The Sunday night game is the Packers and the Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are on primetime 7 times this NFL season. That might be a little too much for a team that I think is going to take a step back. But the Cleveland Browns and the New Orleans Saints, they do not have any primetime games at all. I think it's just a mess at what the Cleveland Browns are dealing with. And I do want to talk about my team, the San Francisco 49ers, who have one of the easiest schedules in all of the NFL. Remember, they're playing all the AFC South teams. They're playing the Cleveland Browns. They're playing a last place schedule. There's really 2 games that come to mind where I could see them losing, at the Rams and at the Cardinals. And in my opinion, that's about it. I really think that the San Francisco 49ers have a layup to at least go 10-7, 11-6, and to make the playoffs. But I still think that they are going to take a step back because of all the players that they lost this season. I do want to talk about the Falcons schedule because I do think the Falcons have a pretty easy schedule this year. They open up the season against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. And then, they take on the Minnesota Vikings in week 2. And I know that the schedulers thought that maybe that could be Kirk Cousins coming back to Minnesota. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't even think that Kirk Cousins starts. I think Michael Penix Jr. is going to be playing that game. The Falcons could easily go 2-0. They're at Carolina. Even though Carolina's improved, I think that could be another win. That game against the Washington Commanders, you get that at home. Remember, they almost beat the Commanders last year. I could see them going 3-0. Now, this is probably the toughest game that I think they lose. They lose to the Buffalo Bills week 6. And even though this game is at home, Buffalo is a very good team with Josh Allen. I think that's going to be a tough chance for the Falcons to get a win. Week 7, the Sunday night football game, October the 19th. They are taking on the San Francisco 49ers in Levi Stadium. And, this is basically the announcers are going to talk about how Kyle Shanahan used to be the offensive coordinator with Atlanta. And the last time that the Atlanta Falcons went to Levi Stadium, they won with Julio Jones getting over the line. That call was reversed. That was 2019. The 49ers would go on to win the Super Bowl that year. Or they would go on to go to the Super Bowl that year. But that was the year that, because the Falcons improved toward the end of the season, they allowed Dan Quinn to have another year, another shot at it in 2020. And so you got the Falcons taking on the Dolphins in week 8. They travel to New England. I think that's going to be another tough road for the Falcons, because the Patriots have dominated the Falcons. Well, mainly Tom Brady has dominated the Falcons, but it's the Patriots. It's Mike Vrabel. It's still a very good team, but Drake May is still learning how to be an elite quarterback in this league. We've got the Berlin game. Do you like these 9:30 in the morning times? Falcons taking on the Indianapolis Colts November the 9th in the Berlin game. Home against the Panthers, against New Orleans, at New Orleans. New Orleans is going to be terrible this year. Derek Carr retiring. Should be 2 easy wins for the Atlanta Falcons. But somehow, some way, they tend to mess this up, and the Saints find a way to win a game. This is going to be a bad team. I know that Kellen Moore is the new head coach in New Orleans, but I think New Orleans is the worst team in the NFL. And, they play the Jets on November the 30th. I think they win there. Seattle is always a tricky game, even if it's at home. I think they split with Tampa Bay, because I think that Baker Mayfield is just going to continue improving. That game against Arizona on December 21st, that's going to be a tough out. They're hosting the Rams on the 29th of December, and then they close out the regular season week 18 against the New Orleans Saints. A winnable schedule for the Falcons. They need to at least finish 10-7, 11-6, and make the playoffs. I mean, this is a year that Terry Fontenot's job's on the line, Raheem Morris's job's on the line. You put all this stock and all this clout and all these offensive pieces, Drake London, Michael Penix, you have Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, all these draft picks you spent on offensive pieces. This better work. And I know that a lot of skeptics that root for the Atlanta Falcons might just go, oh, here we go again. But I'm telling you, the Atlanta Falcons, they should end up winning this division, or at least making the playoffs, because I think the Buccaneers have improved. But yeah, I get excited about the NFL schedule release, because I could start previewing these games starting with week 1, and we've got a couple of months just to talk about the NFL season, as we got OTAs going on. We'll have training camp in a couple of months, and then we'll have preseason games. They'll be here before you know it. All right, let's go ahead and take another break. But when we come back, I'm going to have the Troup County Tigers head baseball coach and football coach, Coach Tanner Glisson, here on the Sports Beat. We'll be right back after this.
Help protect your family from flu this season by taking 3 easy steps. First, get yourself and your family a flu shot. It's quick and can protect you all season. Second, take everyday actions to help prevent the spread of germs like flu. Cover your cough, stay home from work or school if you're sick, and wash your hands often. Third, there are drugs that can treat flu illness. These work best when started early. Learn more at cdc.gov/fightflu.
Welcome back here to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, and we are presented by Georgia Alabama Sports Live and Sports Visions 92.1 FM. You can catch Thrift Behringer and DJ Jones Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 every day, local sports talk radio in Columbus. And I'm excited because my next guest on the Sports Beat, I've had him on before. I'm just super proud of his team and the journey they've got. It is Troup County Tigers head baseball coach, Coach Tanner Glisson. They are in the state championship, and I am pleased to welcome Coach Glisson on the Sports Beat once again. Coach, congratulations. We are so excited for you guys down in Columbus.
Well, thank you, Richard. We really appreciate that. Thank you for all you do for high school athletics.
Absolutely. And people, they know you as the football coach for Troup County. We remember that incredible run with Teo Todd and getting to the semifinals. But the baseball team had a similar run in 2022. I know that all the talk was LaGrange getting to the state championship, but you guys staved off elimination, and your backs were against the wall. And unfortunately, you fell to Benedictine in the quarterfinals. But this team, a very young team, was able just to go through the trials and tribulations, making it back to the quarterfinal last year, losing to Holy Innocents Episcopal. Did you know that this team was capable of making it to the state championship?
Yeah, we thought we had a pretty good team. Last year we started 4 freshmen, and so that was a big deal. This is my 5th year as the baseball coach, and we had been to 3 quarterfinals. And so we were just trying to look to get over the hump. And, those freshmen are now sophomores, and they played a lot of ball for us. They're all football players that play football for us, and they're really, really tough individuals. And we thought we had a good chance if we could get a good bracket to stay healthy.
Yeah, and you won the region. You were able to sweep LaGrange. Trinity Christian's also in your region, but they get thrown into the private bracket. So you got to be the number 1 seed. LaGrange was the number 2 seed. It seemed like in the city of LaGrange, obviously with the success of LaGrange and Callaway as well, a lot of baseball now in the city of LaGrange. Talk about how you get your players focused. And I'm looking up and down your roster, Coach. You still got a very young team.
Yeah,
so
we do.
Championship, huge accomplishment, especially for not just the city of LaGrange, but West Point, all the surrounding towns around Troup County. They are just so excited that you guys made it to the state championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, there's really good baseball here in LaGrange with Callaway and LaGrange. They're both very good programs. And so we play each one of those each year. But our region was so dang tough. When you had LaGrange, you had Whitewater, Mary Persons, you mentioned Trinity Christian. It's just a very, very difficult region, and we feel like we're battle tested. We feel like those playing those teams, our non-region schedule was very difficult, but our region schedule just really tested us each and every week, and so we feel like we're battle tested.
Well, Coach, I do want to talk about some of the members of your team. You got a sophomore named Davis Monkus, who's also on the football team, and he leads a team in RBIs, home runs scored. Just talk about what makes Davis Monkus just a special athlete, and knowing that you've got him pretty much all year round, because not only he's with you on the baseball field, but he's also in those workouts during football season.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's that football mental toughness, the weight room. He's just a competitor. And so he plays wide receiver for us, defensive back for us, has started for us on both football and baseball since he was a freshman. He's a ultimate competitor, but so are a lot of other guys that are around him, like both of our quarterbacks, Davis Monkus, Chase Mosley and Garrison Edwards are out there. So we're just kind of surrounded. That was kind of the thing when I took over, that we were going to try to build that mental toughness from bringing those football players and bringing that football mentality to the baseball team.
There is no question about it. Troup County has had a reputation for getting athletes to the next level. Just look at Ryan Bliss playing for the Seattle Mariners. I do want to talk about your pitching staff. Still young. Kason Spears is only a junior, but he has got a .55 earned run average. Is that your game one, normally your game one starter, or Jake Perry, Chase Mosley? Like, who do you like to throw in the rotation when you're going up and against a 3-game series?
Well, first and foremost, to go back to Ryan Bliss for just a minute, really cool thing. He's going to Zoom with our team today at 4:00. And,
that is
wish
awesome.
Us luck. So we're fired up about him. He's battling a little bit of an injury situation right now and doing rehab, but he started off the year as starting second baseman for Seattle Mariners, and couldn't be more happy for him to be a Troup alum. But as far as pitching wise, Jake Perry, our junior, is our game one starter. He's been our ace all year long. He's got really good stuff. He's in the mid to high 80s with a really good changeup. Our game 2 and game 3 starters kind of juggle back and forth with Davis Munkus and Chase Mosley. Whichever one of those guys does not start can come in and close for us. And Casey Spears is our high leverage mid-inning guy. Whenever we get in a pinch somewhere in the middle innings, he can come in, get ground balls. He throws a lot of strikes. He pitches to contact. He kind of lights the pressure. So he's a junior. So you're talking about Jake Perry, a junior, our number 1 guy. Davis Munkus and Chase Mosley are both sophomores. And then Casey Spears that we mentioned is a junior.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, I was looking at the season, and we don't really cover that many Troup County games because we cover – on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, we cover the 16 schools in and around the Tri-City area. But every now and then, you guys will end up facing a Calvary Christian like you did last year. We had that game on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Faced Columbus down at Randy Jordan Field. It actually was a game that I thought was going to get rained out. But I definitely want to try to get some Troup County games next season. I know that we've gotten some football games on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, especially when you play Harris County. But just talk about the fan support. Obviously, the community has been behind the baseball team, like we've seen with LaGrange. LaGrange has got a great fan base as well. Troup County, same thing, great fan base. That's why this rivalry is so incredible.
Yeah,
I think what Coach Donnie Branch is doing at LaGrange is phenomenal. What you guys are doing at Troup County, you know that the baseball is in a good place in Troup County in the city of LaGrange. But just talk about that fan support that has really helped build in the confidence of the baseball team going through this championship run.
Absolutely. Well, people here in Troup County, they love their sports. They're sports fanatics, and it carries over from football to baseball. They call our place here the jungle, and it gets really, really hostile, and we like it that way. And you mentioned the rivalry with LaGrange. I equate it to kind of like Auburn, Alabama. It's something special. And so our people are going to travel very well up to Rome next week. Today at lunch, our school is going to be putting out some information about how to get tickets and our travel itinerary. I know they're going to let school out early that day. So we'll have a packed house, I'm sure, up there in Rome. And but yeah, we'll put our fans up against anybody. It's second to none with sports here at Troup County.
Absolutely. Next Tuesday, 5 p.m. up in Rome. It is going to be a doubleheader against Cherokee Bluff for the 3A GHSA State Championship, and there'll be a Game 3 on Wednesday if necessary. That's an exciting venue to play at Advent Health Stadium, home of the Rome Emperors. Just to have your team playing in a minor league baseball stadium, what does that feel like for the players to actually be in the spotlight? And we've seen this before in the past with other championships. Just talk about what it means to the typical baseball player at the high school level to play at a minor league baseball field.
Yeah, I mean, they're all excited. We really don't know yet because we hadn't been there and done that quite yet. Cherokee Bluff has. They played in this game last year. So, that probably gives them a little bit of an advantage. But, even past just being in that kind of environment in the venue, Cherokee Bluff is a really, really good hitting ball club, and our outfield is a really outstanding outfield. We're probably the best defensive outfield in the state of Georgia. I'll put our guys up against anybody. And so to play in a minor league ballpark, that's going to be a big field, that's going to play really big, 400 in center, 330 down the lines. We really like our defense in that kind of venue.
All right, my final question to you, Coach Glisson, is how can fans of Troup County get tickets to this game? Is there going to be a caravan on Tuesday that's going to bring people up to Rome? And is there going to be a way, if people can't make it up to Rome, if they can watch the game on the NFHS network? Are they going to have a broadcast for the championship?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to be honest with you, I'm getting briefed about all that information right after this. We had a Zoom last night at 6:30 with Georgia High School Association, but I was on the football field coaching a spring game last night. And so I'm getting briefed on that. I know our school's going to put out information today at lunch. I do know that it is all on Go Fan, so there's no cash. That you can't buy a ticket with cash at the gate, but I think you can buy tickets at the gate. It's just going to have to be electronically. I do know that we are departing around 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning. I do know there's a fan bus, so our school is going to also share information on our website today at lunch about that info.
And Coach, my final question: you talk a little bit about your coaching staff, because obviously, with you being the baseball coach and the football coach, you have to rely on your assistants to kind of help get practice going, because like you mentioned, the football team had their spring game. They're doing their spring practices. You're months away from getting ready for the football season. So give a shout out to your assistants and that helps you not only on the baseball field, but on the gridiron as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting with baseball, we had the Barber family. So we got three of the Barbers, Richie Barber, Blake Barber, and Brock Barber, that are tremendous. They're baseball lifers. They've been around Troup forever. We got Charles Mosley, who's our outfield coach, our first base coach. His son Chase plays for us. We've got Patrick Shivers, who used to be the head baseball coach at Valley, who brings a lot of experience from a head coaching standpoint. And then we have Russell Yeatman and Will Pierce, who actually graduated. Will graduated from Northside Columbus. Those guys do a tremendous job for us as well. And then the football staff, J.C. Copeland heads up the defense. Connor McNamee heads up the offense. Stan Brumbelow does a lot of work for us, a lot of administrative work that I have to get done. And then we brought back in the fold Coach Bubba Jeter this year. Coach Bubba Jeter spent 30 years here at Troup High School. He was a former head football coach here. So he's with us. So that kind of puts me at ease when I'm on the baseball field to know that we got Coach Jeter out there with all his wealth of head coaching experience here as well.
Absolutely. And I can't wait for that football season. We were going to have that game against Harris County. That's actually going to be at Callaway Stadium this year.
That's right. We get 8 home games this year, so we're tickled to death about that. We were road warriors last year, so we're fired up.
I tell you what, I know the NFHS has the rights to LaGrange, Callaway, and Troup County, but man, it's always great when we're able to showcase Troup County on our platform. Good luck in the state championship, Coach, and I know you're excited about football season coming up months away. But yeah, we're excited. May the 20th, 5:00 doubleheader against Cherokee Bluff up in Rome. Thanks for joining the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, Coach, once again, and look forward to having you back on.
Richard, thank you for all you do, and go Tigers.
Absolutely. That is the Troup County head baseball coach, Coach Tanner Glisson, also coaches football as he gets ready for the football season as well. We're going to go and take a break. But when we come back, I'm going to go ahead and close out this show here on the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. You don't want to go anywhere.
When you really need something to get you through a long graduation ceremony, Trolley Sour Gummy Worms are there to give you a thrill. With varieties like Trolley Sour Bursting Crawlers, the worm's soft and chewy texture, surprising flavor combinations, and neon bright colors will give everyone a reason to celebrate. So when you want to notch the festivities up a couple degrees, Trolley Sour Gummy Worms are the perfect way for everyone to celebrate. Shop now for any trolley that crawls your way.
Welcome back here to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, presented by Georgia Alabama Sports Live and Sports Visions 92.1 FM. A big special thanks to Troup County baseball coach Tanner Glisson for being on the show. And don't forget, next Tuesday, the Troup County Tigers in the 3A state championship for the GHSA classification up in Rome. First pitch for game 1 is going to be at 5:00. And if you can't make it up there, you can catch the games on the NFHS network. Later tonight, we've got Shaw Soccer in the state championship. We've got GIAA quarterfinals in soccer for both the Pacelli boys and girls. I will be on the call for both of those games. We got Brookstone Bullock Academy, games 1 and 2, starting at 2:00. And Thrift Behringer will be on the call for that. I will be on the call tomorrow, 7:30 at Memorial Stadium. It is Columbus United FC, first year in the USL2, taking on Tennessee Soccer Club. That's going to be 7:30 on the pitch. We'll have a pregame show about 5:30, just talking up the season. Just a huge success last year, making it all the way to the Final Four in the NPSL. And they are playing soccer matches in the USL2 this season in the South Central Division. as we had Coach Brett Teach on Columbus United FC Soccer Talk yesterday, along with one of the owners, J.D. Hester. And you can catch that game on Georgia Alabama Sports Live's Facebook page and the USL2's YouTube channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this show. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the Facebook channel. I'm also found on YouTube. You can also download the podcast. I'm found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we will talk to you Monday. Bye, everybody.